The Batman is one of my favorite superhero films. It's an engaging noir mystery that hooks you from start to finish. What Matt Reeves has done with these characters is amazing, and I can't wait to see what he has planned. The fact that he's even making a Penguin show to further expand this universe just goes to show that he cares. So in this video, I'm going to be ranking the top 5 villains that I want to see in the Matt Reeves Batman universe.
What did you do to him, boss?
I merely helped him visualize his innermost terror, which is obviously arachnophobia.
In number 5, I have Scarecrow, one of Batman's most terrifying villains. There's a comment I found that perfectly summarizes why Scarecrow is so good, and why he is the most threatening Batman villain. The more Bruce forms relationships, such as Robin, Barbara, Commissioner Gordon, Catwoman, the other heroes, etc., the longer he is Batman, and the more he has to protect Gotham. And the more he has to protect Gotham, the more he has to fear, the more vulnerable he is to fear. The fear is losing everyone and everything. The more Batman grows, the more threatening Scarecrow becomes. This comment right here perfectly captures my feelings for this villain. As for who I'd want to play this iconic Batman villain, my choices are either Willem Dafoe, Jamie Campbell Bower, or Dane DeHaan. But my number one choice would be Jamie Campbell Bower. His role in Stranger Things is one of my favorite things to come out of that series. Now, I won't spoil who he plays, but I highly suggest you give season 4 a watch, or the whole series in general, and I think you'll understand why he is my number one choice for this role.
Toys. You try to fight me with pathetic little toys.
And next up we have Bane, who I just want to say is actually very intelligent and challenges Batman both mentally and physically. Now, I do want to make things clear and say that I don't want him in a film, but instead a Nightfall television series. We're getting a Penguin series, so maybe let's say we got a third Batman film. Maybe this Nightfall series could take place after that third film. And not only would this expand the universe more, but a series would allow for so much to be fleshed out with this story. We could even see various Batman characters such as Killer Croc, Poison Ivy, Joker, and many more show up in this series, just like they did in the graphic novel. And if you haven't read Nightfall yet, I highly recommend you do so, as they're hands down some of the best Batman stories out there.
Where you going, Harvey? You can't get away from me. Ah! See what I mean?
Yet another layered character, and in my opinion, Batman's most personal foe. It's his best friend turned supervillain. I honestly think Aaron Eckhart, I think that's how you pronounce his name. I think his portrayal of Two-Face in The Dark Knight is severely underrated, and it just goes to show you the potential with this character. And honestly, you could say that in the end, he won. Yeah, sure, Batman stopped Joker, but he failed to save Harvey. And in the end, everything Dent built crumbled. Now, if we were to get Two-Face, I would love for us to get used to Harvey Dent and get connected with this character before he, eventually transitions into the villainous Two-Face. For example, we get introduced to Harvey in the second film, and then he becomes Two-Face in the third or even fourth film. And obviously a fourth film happening would only work if we were to get a 6th film saga, which would be pretty cool. Harvey Dent is not only representative of the thin line Bruce walks as Batman between good and evil, but is also a dark shadow for Bruce as well. Now, as for who I'd want to play Two-Face, I would love to see either John David Washington, Chris Evans, Oscar Isaac, or Jake Gyllenhaal.
But hey, it worked. You had your biggest hits after the accident.
Yeah, some of the best parts I ever had.
Matt, you're changing. And you didn't use your hands this time. You didn't even try. You did it automatically, like a reflex or something.
Yet another iconic villain in the Batman mythos, Clayface. One of the most underrated villains. A tragic story about a man turned into a hideous monster. Feet of Clay from the Batman animated series is a perfect portrayal of this tragic villain. Those 2 episodes make us sympathize with Clayface, and I found yet another comment that I loved, so I'm going to summarize it here. Bruce Wayne and Matt Hagen share similar problems relating to identity. Batman is a role that Bruce Wayne has created and plays just like the roles Matt Hagen plays in his movies. Both of them are more attracted to the roles they play than the real lives they have as Bruce Wayne and Matt Hagen. It is also a great symbolism that he is made of Clay because he has gotten more fond of playing roles than being a person. I would just love to see what Matt Reeves does with this character. I also really liked the Batman 2004 animated cartoon's take on Clayface. I also really liked the Batman 2004 animated cartoon's take on Clayface. Having Bruce and Ethan being longtime friends blended perfectly and made for a very intense and personal rivalry. Now, as for who I'd want to play Clayface, my choices range from Bill Skarsgård or Michael Shannon.
There I was, holed up in this quarry. When Batman came nosing around, he was getting closer.
And?
I threw a rock at him.
So, Harvey, what became of the giant penny?
Now, before we get into the number 1 villain that I want to see, let's go ahead and cover some honorable mentions. I think Clock King would make for an excellent addition to the Reeves universe. He is surprisingly a very layered villain. Now, of course, I'm going to suggest you check out some of his episodes in the Batman animated series, but I also suggest you check out Arrow Season 2, Episode 14, and The Flash Season 1, Episode 7, as they both feature Clock King played by Robert Kenneber. I think I probably butchered his name, but he did an amazing job and made Clock King a truly terrifying and intimidating villain. Killer Croc to many may seem like a ruthless killer, which he is, but when you get to know more of his backstory, you realize he is actually a very tragic villain, and seeing him get properly adapted on the whether it be big screen or television screen in the Reeves universe would be amazing to see. And we also have others such as Poison Ivy, the ventriloquist and his puppet Scarface, Ra's al Ghul, Man-Bat, and we can't forget about Joker, Harley Quinn, Firefly. But there's one villain who I truly want to see.
Think of it, Batman. To never again walk on a summer's day with a hot wind in your face and a warm hand to hold. Oh yes, I'd kill for that.
Mr. Freeze is my favorite Batman villain of all time, hands down, and I think we all can agree that Freeze would be the perfect villain for a sequel. Batman is becoming a symbol of hope, and what better villain to challenge Bruce at this stage of his career than Victor Freeze? What I personally hope to see is Batman empathizing with Freeze, as opposed to just beating him up. You see, Freeze isn't really a villain, rather a man whose desire to save his wife pushed him to darkness. I found a quote that really resonated with me about this character. Being a criminal might not justify how far you went, but it's a human trait we all can relate to. If you thought you could save a loved one, how far would you be willing to go? And those are the villains that I want to see. I'm pretty sure there are a few I didn't list that you all want to see, so be sure to comment them down below. I would also like to know if a 6-film saga would be cool to see, and which villains you'd want to see in each of those films. I should have my next videos coming soon where I rank my favorite Scooby-Doo iterations, so stay tuned for that. I hope you all enjoyed this video, and as always, take care.